Okay. Hare Krishna, dear kids. One
Hare
second.
Krishna, Mataji.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. One minute. Can we give one more minute to the kids to join? And just give me a minute also.
Sure, Mataji, take your time. Children will take some time to join in. We'll pause the recording.
So let's talk about Krishna Katha. All right. So Krishna, he descended about several thousand years ago on the sacred land of Madhura Mandal. Krishna, he appeared in this world as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. And he is also known as the son of Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. So Krishna, he appeared in a dramatic and a drastic situation. See, say for example, when our life is going in an ordinary way, we all have our problems. We feel that we can deal with those problems. At that time, we don't need for anyone higher, or we don't feel the need for God, right? But when we face problems and when we cannot deal with it, that is when we wonder, there is somebody higher, somebody who can solve our problems. And there we turn towards God and seek for his help and say, can you please help me, my dear Lord? Such was the situation that had enveloped in the earth and the universe thousands of years ago when Krishna appeared. Okay, what happened was there was this ferocious demon called Kamsa. He was so atrocious and he turned against entire family. What happened was he had imprisoned Krishna's own father. He had also arrested all his relatives and put in a very miserable situation. That is what Kamsa did to Krishna's parents. And all that happened because he has a great hunger for power. When we all like to succeed and get some power and ownership, we try to do some bad things in that process. We try to do things that are not dharmic. So this is what had happened. And because of the hunger for power, he tried to eliminate or imprison anybody who felt was a threat to him. That is what Kamsa did. In fact, though his own sister, cousin sister, right, Devaki, was almost like his real sister. They had been so close with each other. But when he knew that the son would come to threat him, so he was not hesitating to kill her also. He completely turned against her. Devaki was married to Vasudeva. We all know that story. And Devaki and Vasudeva were going in their wedding procession on a chariot. And Kamsa, he was driving the chariot. Such was the affection that was exhibited. Okay, it was because he wanted the whole world to know how wonderful and a beautiful brother he was. How was he such a monarch? He was a very good king, but he was a menial charioteer to his sister. He wanted the whole world to praise him. Oh, look at me. I'm such a big king, but look at how I'm actually being a charioteer for my sister. He wanted the whole world to praise him because such was his love for her. For him, so he wanted some praise from people. He wanted to get acknowledgement from people saying how good of a ruler he was. So this was what was going on in the mind of Kamsa. For him, driving this chariot was not so much because of affection to his sister. It was more of displaying the affection to the world. He wants the world to know how wonderful brother he was. Sometimes people who are big VIPs, they actually come to the temple to get the darshan of the Lord. That time, they feel that people should take photo of themselves worshipping the Lord. Like they will do such a pose and give a pose to the viewers so they can take a picture of themselves posing like this in front of the Lord. What is the purpose for that? They want to put it on a Facebook or an Instagram, and then all the followers will start to appreciate him. Oh, such a nice person he is. He's a big shot, but he's coming to the temple to worship the Lord. But what is going on the back of the mind of such people? So they don't actually come to the Lord to take darshan of the Lord. They come to the temple to show how pious they are. This is what they want to exhibit themselves as good pious people. And Kamsa was like that. He was exhibiting his love for love for his sister, but he had only very little love. His love was not too much. Love was only this much. And as he was driving the chariot, suddenly a celestial voice spoke. What was that celestial voice saying? You foolish Kamsa, this sister whom you are driving, her eighth child will come to be the cause of your death. Nobody could understand where that voice actually came from. And as soon as Kamsa heard it, what happened? His disposition towards her completely changed. He turned around and caught Devaki by her hair. He pulled her hair like this, put his sword and was about to chop her off her head. At this point, he said to Devaki, your son is going to kill me. Before that, I'm going to kill you. So the Krishna Leela itself began in a very scary way. How flickering our relationships in this world can be. It is demonstrating to us how flickering or how changeable the relationships can be. At one point, Kamsa was being a good brother, showing affection to her sister. At another point, we see just in a short period of time, as soon as the celestial voice spoke, his character started to change. The same person who shows so much affection at one point of time, the next moment he can completely turn against. This is what is the situation in this material world. And Devaki, we all know, she was just married to Vasudeva, and Vasudeva was a very powerful king. But at the same time, he didn't want to open a war out to Kamsa right in the venue where the wedding had taken place. Look at Vasudeva, how composed and calm he is. He's going through a provocating situation here, but he is using his mind and intelligence so that he can act in the right way. So this is what is Vasudeva's exhibition of his move. And now Kamsa was extremely powerful, and he's also a very dangerous person. Vasudeva tried to persuade Kamsa in various ways, but Kamsa, he did not listen to any kind of philosophy. Whatsoever he wanted to tell, Vasudeva wanted to express and tell him, this is not right, this is due to, why is it not right? He was trying to give him all the explanations as far as philosophy is concerned. But Vasudeva, he was not at all ready to listen, right? He told him, see, you have no threat from Devaki. Your threat is from Devaki's son. I promise that whatever children Devaki he will have, I will actually hand them over to you. But you please let Devaki go. Please, I beg you. See, Devaki is not going to harm you in any way. Only her children are going to harm you. And that is what the celestial voice said. So please let Devaki go. This is Vasudeva's plea to Devaki. Sorry, Vasudeva's plea to Kamsa. And Vasudeva realized that for him to make such a promise, it was a great sacrifice for him to make. So when can we mute these lines? I'm not sure who is talking here. Okay, let me see. As to unmute.
Muted, Mataji.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mataji. Okay, so we were at a point where we were discussing about Vasudeva realized that for Kamsa to make a promise like that, it will be of great sacrifice for him to make. So when a problem cannot be solved immediately, the best thing that we can do at that point in time is that we can defer the problem. We may think that in the future situations, it will be better, and we may be able, the future situations, this problem, we think we can defer that problem to a future situation so that we can solve this problem at a later point in time. So that is what Vasudeva is doing right now. He is not able to solve the problem at this current moment, and he's just deferring it to a future point, saying, see, please don't kill Devaki at this point in time because Devaki is not going to harm you. But what you can do is, you can just, the Devaki's children are going to cause trouble to you. So what I'm going to do is, I will hand over the children to you so you can take care of them. And whatever you want, you can do it with the children, but don't do any harm to Devaki. So he is he's deferring the problem to a later point in time. So we may think that future situations will be better and we may be able to solve it. So this was the thinking of Vasudeva. So he is thinking at this point in time, maybe or may not, we may not have children. And I don't know what is in store for me in future. I may have kids, I may not have children, but then at this point in time, Devaki's life is changed. I mean, Devaki's life is saved. So if the forecast is that Devaki's son would kill Kamsa, then that's what will happen in some inconceivable way. Some way or the other, that will happen. And let me do the best that I can right now. See how calm and composed he is, how he's introducing his intelligence and mind. At this present moment, whatever is the best that he can do, he's doing that. Let me do the best I can, and I can act right now. Vasudeva tried to use persuasion to deter Kamsa, but when he did not listen, he had to do what he had to do. He tried to persuade Kamsa. First, he told him philosophy. He did not listen. Then he wanted to currently save his wife, so he procrastinated whatever problem he has had. He deferred it to the future, and then that is where the situation is. After that, when Kamsa heard this word, Vasudeva was known to be a very truthful person, and thus he accepted and released Vasudeva and Devaki. So see how Kamsa also now looking at the truthfulness of Vasudeva to be a very truthful person. He knows Vasudeva is a truthful person. I don't have to worry about his words. Whatever he says, he will keep up with his words. So I will let go of them. In that way, with an assurance, he released Vasudeva and Devaki. So this is the situation right now. And now we will see what is going to happen. Kamsa, he was an evil person, but the cause of his ruination was not just his demoniac nature. Actually, he had associates. Associates are people who are with you. They are more demoniac than him, very dangerous. We all know from the story of Ramayana how Kaikeyi was trapped by Mantra's words, poisonous words of Mantra, right? Very, very, we have to be very careful with association. Whom do we associate with? Whom do we give our hearts to? Whom do we reveal in confidence? Whom do we talk about our personal matters the most? All that is important. At this stage, because you're all youth, very important to understand the importance of association. So this is what this particular pastime from Krishna's birth is teaching us. How association can actually drag us down. How in Ramayana also, through Mantra's words, Kaikeyi was dragged down. She was a nice lady. She wanted to, she was very happy upon hearing the news of Rama being crowned as the king. But then after Mantra trying to poison her, saying her that if your son Bharata is becoming the king, you will be respected. Otherwise, you will not be respected at all. Dasharath would not even care for you. So you will not have any prestige in your life. What's the point of Ram becoming the king of Ayodhya? You have to make your son the king. And then she told her the ways how she can actually make Bharata the king and spoiled her. Then afterwards, completely she changed her mindset. She said, yeah, that is right, Mantra. I should do that. I think I made a very bad decision by agreeing to that proposal. You are pretty right. You seem to be an intelligent lady. I never thought so. About all this, whatever you told me, I never thought it in that way. And now it makes clear sense to me. And after that, she became hard-hearted. Even when Dasharath Maharaj was fainting down when he heard when she asked the boon for Ram being sent to the forest, upon hearing those words, Dasharath Maharaj continuously fainted. But she didn't care for her feelings, care for his feelings. That much hard-hearted she became in that process. Hard-hearted means you're not reacting to people's emotions. That is what is hard-heartedness. And in that situation, because of Mantra's poisoning words, Kaikeyi actually was became a victim of that, and because of that, she became hard-hearted. That is a learning lesson from Ramayana also. In this case also, we are seeing Kamsa was an evil person, but it was just not his demoniac nature. Actually, he had associates who were also more demoniac than him. Can you imagine? There is degrees of demoniac natures. And Kamsa was here at the lower grade, but there were people who are more demoniac than him. So generally, if you see in this world, we all have our good moments and bad moments. Sometimes we have noble desires within us, and sometimes we have some terrible desires within us. So we all go through these emotions at various times. But in the association, but it is the association that actually determines which of the moments, which of these desires or moments we act upon. Sometimes we may get good desires, like we may feel like going to the temple, taking the darshan of the Lord, doing chanting, hearing to Krishna Katha. But if our association is completely materialistic, then they will try to change our mind, because of which, even though we have the desire to go, that desire will be suppressed because of those people that are around us. They will say, let's not go back, let's have fun, let's enjoy, let's watch TV, let's watch some sports, let's enjoy our life. And then we'll be like, oh ma, I'll not go to the temple. That is what will be the response. So if a good desire comes, but if the association is negative, then our desire gets suppressed. Suppressed means it comes down. It comes down, comes down, comes down. On the other hand, if a negative desire comes up, for example, a person is alcoholic and he wants to give up alcohol. But if all their friends are alcoholic and this person says he wants to be sober, it's not going to happen, right? There is a negative desire, and you're also surrounded by people who are of the same, who are also on the same category. They also have those desires in them. Then obviously you cannot become a saintly person there. In amongst the group of alcoholics, you can't become a sober person. That is not possible. Sometimes people say, drink, but you do not become a drunkard. There is also another saying that says, go to the edge of the cliff, but don't fall down. You go to the edge of the cliff, but you should not fall down. So Kamsa had these evil moments and good moments, but what did the associates do with Kamsa? The Kamsa's associates actually fanned his lower desires. Whatever lower desires he had, that was actually encouraged by the associates of Kamsa. When Kamsa told his friends about Vasudeva's promise to him, they told him, you have to be very careful. They advised Kamsa, he has to be very, very careful. Kamsa had his eye on Vasudeva, but still he had his trust in him. He felt that Vasudeva is truthful. When Vasudeva had his first child, he brought his first child to Kamsa and he gave it to Kamsa with a heavy heart. He felt so heavy in his heart, but then he gave it to Kamsa. And Kamsa was amazed to see the truthfulness of Vasudeva. And he said, the sacrifice that you are doing here is inconceivable. I'm not even able to conceive this, but you're doing it. You're able to sacrifice your son and you're giving it to me. You are a very truthful person. I'm pleased to see how truthful you are, but I have no need for the first son. I'm not in need of your first son. I really don't want him, because the celestial message that he heard said that only the eighth son of Vasudeva is going to kill him. So he says, first son is of no use, and the danger I have is from your eighth son, so you can take him back, no problem. So this is what Kamsa told Vasudeva. Vasudeva, what happened to him? So Vasudeva, he went away, but he knew that Kamsa's mind is fickle. Mana sanchala, right? The mind is always sanchala. That is what Bhagavad Gita says. It's always fickle. And he also felt that Kamsa's mind is fickle and he cannot be trusted. Although he took his son away, he was very apprehensive. And then what happened was Kamsa's friend came along and he told them that Vasudeva, so Kamsa told them, see, Vasudeva, he brought his sons. The first son, he actually came and gave it to me, because seeing his truthfulness, I told him, I don't need his first son because only the eighth son is going to endanger me or kill me. So I just told him to take his son back. So he was actually speaking appreciatively about Vasudeva's good qualities. See how virtuous Vasudeva is, but what did his friends respond? Very important point, dear kids. How can you be so foolish? The friends are saying this to Kamsa. How can you be so foolish? Actually, these gods are not at all trustworthy. They said the eighth son will kill you, but who knows? The first son may also kill you. What is the guarantee that the first son will not kill you? Kamsa now became little skeptical. At that time, another of his associates picked up a flower and he said,
Who exactly were the friends?
Haribol, what are you saying?
Who exactly were the friends? Does it say who the friends?
What is that? I'm not able to hear you. Voice is very faint.
He's asking who the friends were.
So just the associates in the kingdom.
Okay, Mother.
Yeah. Good question. Thank you. So now, so Kamsa became little skeptical. We don't know what the gods are going to do because they can be performing any kind of act. It looks like that is what this associate is telling me. At that time, another of his associate picked up a flower and he said, look at this flower. How many petals are there? Kamsa looked at it and counted. He found that there were 8 petals. The friend then asked, which is the first petal among this? You tell me. You can call it first, but if I count it from here, this will be the 8th petal, right? So if there is a petal, say for example, I have 5 hands here. Can you all see my hands, fingers? Sorry. So so he's asking to count the number of fingers here. Say, I mean, obviously he's talking about the petals. There are 8 petals, and he's asking them to count. But if you take that example and put it in the situation of fingers, and from here, if I count, this will be 5. But from here, if I count, this will be the 5th. So that is how he is confusing Kamsa. The friend is asking, which is the first petal among this? You can call it first, but if I count from here, it will become the 8th. Like that, God will fool you. The first son will become the 8th son, and the 8th son can become the first son. So Kamsa now understood the point, and he said, I will finish off all the sons. Don't even worry about it. This is what Kamsa said. And Kamsa was maddened like this. Just here, I mean, obviously he could not tolerate the fact that he actually let Vasudeva and his son like that. I mean, he felt so bad for his act. When Kamsa was maddened, he went to Vasudeva's house and grabbed the sons. And what did he do? He brutally slammed them on the ground and killed them. Looking at this, Devaki was horrified. She was very much troubled. Who in this world can tolerate the son being killed brutally like that?
Mataji, what happened? So before Kamsa slammed the children on the ground?
That's what happened. So Kamsa was actually thinking, oh, I made a big mistake, and with a lot of fury and anger, he came to Vasudeva's house and slammed the kid, first child of Vasudeva brutally and killed him. And Devaki, she saw this and she was horrified. How can a mother see the act of her own child being killed? Right? It was very, very that emotion that a mother has was expressed by Devaki. She was feeling very, very sad and she lamented for the act of Kamsa. Vasudeva, he was also filled with anger. Of course, a lot of anger was there, a lot of pain, and at the same time, his situation was such that he was helpless. He was very helpless. He couldn't do anything with regards to that act of Kamsa. So Vasudeva's son was killed, but then Kamsa put Vasudeva and Devaki were imprisoned now. First he let them loose, but after hearing from the associates that he has to be careful about it, he now imprisoned Vasudeva and Devaki. Okay, the gods had incited his associates in such a way that.
So Mataji, these associates were really bad.
Yes, obviously, that is what I'm saying. Kamsa was also bad to some extent, but his associates were even more, they were very much more, the degree of badness, they were even more bad than Kamsa. So I was giving you an example of mantra too, and telling you about how Kaikeyi actually spoiled mantra. Sorry, mantra actually spoiled Kaikeyi. I gave you that example to show and prove the fact that we have to be very careful as far as association goes. Whom we are associating, what we are talking to them about, what subject matter, what sort of opinions they are giving to us, and all that needs to be very, very carefully looked upon. Because our heart must be pure as much as possible. So when we are surrounded by associates who are pure in their mind and intelligence, then we are in the safe hands. When we realize that our association is bad, then we have to turn away from them. Okay. So earlier, Kamsa had a thought of killing Devaki, but we all know Vasudeva stopped him. But now his arrogance has become such that Kamsa had fought and defeated. So he feels that he can do anything now. It doesn't matter. So he has come to that sort of mindset. I can do anything to establish power in this world. If there needs to be arrogance, I can do arrogance. If there needs to be any other bad thing also that I need to do from my side, I can do that also. So this is what became his mindset. So now, so we need to understand one thing. First, initially, Devaki and Vasudeva stayed together, and while they lived together, they begot the first child. They knew that the son would be born. That son will be taken away by Kamsa and will be brutally killed. Now, why would they keep on begetting children if the children are going to die? So they knew, Devaki and Vasudeva, now they come to an understanding that Kamsa is going to kill their children. But what's the point of begetting children? Going on begetting children, they are going to die. So why they have to beget children? That may be a question one may ask, right? You all have that question. Do you all have that question also? Why are they going on begetting children if Kamsa is going to kill that children? What is the reason? Does anybody have that question in mind?
Yeah, why do they need more children?
Yeah. So
Do they need to get Krishna?
Yes, they are waiting. That is the reason. They did that because they knew that whenever there is something dark in your life, there will be light at some point in time, right? They knew that if a celestial voice had spoken that the 8th child would be the one which will kill Kamsa, surely the deliverance will happen. So they knew that their sons will be killed, but they agreed to that. Every son that would be born, Kamsa is ruthlessly going to kill all of them. 6 years they were in jail. They would have a child, the child will be dead. They will have a child will be dead. Another child will be dead. So 6 children were killed by Kamsa so far. And then finally, the 7th child was going to be born. At that time, something mysterious happened. Kamsa had them under his house arrest. And at that time, he had a constant vigilant voice. Now he has a very good vision of what these guys are up to. So when he knew that Devaki was going to beget the child, at that time, he was waiting for the time when the son will be born. So he was continuously having a check on them because 6 children are now dead and only 2 more children. After that, it is Kamsa's death. So he is vigilant and he is constantly watching them with his vigilant eyes. Now, what happens is, in the 7th month of pregnancy, one night, Devaki was sleeping and suddenly she felt that the child from her womb was disappearing. So she woke up and she felt her belly was empty. She looked around and realized that the child had disappeared. That child, by the arrangement of the Lord, was transported. The world the world thought that simply this was a miscarriage. The child was lost. But this child we all know is Balaram. And Balaram is the younger brother of Krishna. He was mystically transported from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. This is mystical. Lord is inconceivable. And what had happened here is that everybody in the world thought, okay, this child is dead and no more, it is a miscarriage, just dead in her womb itself. But then what had happened is Balaram was transported to the womb, from the womb of Devaki, he was transported to the womb of Rohini. Vasudeva, we all know, he had several queens and Rohini was one of his queens. Because Kamsa felt that there was a great threat from Devaki, he had arrested Vasudeva and Devaki. And Rohini has been staying in that place, but Vasudeva sent a message to Rohini that Kamsa cannot be trusted. Kamsa is one person that he cannot be trusted. Therefore, he arranged one of his associates to provide her a horse. And before Vasudeva had arrested her, Vasudeva had been arrested. At that time, Rohini actually became pregnant. So while they were out of the jail for some time, right? When the first child was born, Devaki and Vasudeva were out of the jail. So at that time, he passed a message on to Rohini telling him that this Kamsa is not a trustworthy fellow. We should not believe him. And at that time, Rohini had become pregnant. And now this womb that is Balaram from Devaki's womb got transported to the womb of Rohini. And when she was a few months pregnant, one night, as per the advice of Vasudeva, she secretly got on a horse and left Mathura and went to Vrindavana. She traveled through the night and she came to Gokul Madhuvan in Vrindavan, where Nanda Maharaj was staying. And Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva, we know they are cousins. And Nanda Maharaj, he welcomed Rohini. And when he left the womb of Devaki, he was transported to the womb of Rohini. He stayed in the womb. Balaram stayed in the womb of Rohini for many months. Thus, Balaram, he was born in Vrindavana. But in meanwhile, it appeared as if Vasudeva had lost the seventh child through miscarriage. That is what everybody in that place were thinking. Vasudeva, he actually lost the seventh child through miscarriage. And when the eighth child was to be born, at that time, what happened to Devaki? Devaki became effulgent. Her face was glowing. Her whole body lit because something inconceivable was going to happen. She was having bodily effulgence. There was a lot of goodness seen in her face. So there has, so we all understand Devaki is the newly married wife. She was just about to begin her new life. Instead of going to the palace with her husband, she now is in the prison. And she was so morose because of that fact. But even without understanding why this happened, suddenly there is jubilation and happiness coming within her. She is going through suffering now, but because of Krishna's appearance is going to occur in her womb, she suddenly became effulgent and suddenly she became very happy and cheerful, jubilant. And this was the situation of Devaki. And when she was jubilant like this, at that time, she started understanding that the promised Lord, that is Lord Krishna, is going to appear in her womb and he is going to be the deliverer of her misery. When Kamsa would come to see her, he was surprised. Earlier, when I came to her prison cell, she used to be so fearful, but now her complexion has changed. And Kamsa started becoming more apprehensive, more fearful. And at that time, as the pregnancy came towards the delivery, it was deep. It was very much in the night. And Krishna was in the dark cellar. That is where the midnight Krishna actually appeared. And now whenever God comes, the darkness goes away. So God is the supreme light. And this world, this material world, is a place of darkness. But when Krishna appeared in the dark prison cell, so what happened to the darkness in the prison cell? The light started to glow and light started to come, auspiciousness started to come. And he appeared, as we all know, he appeared in the midnight. Actually, as soon as Krishna appeared, the whole prison cell, as I told you, became effulgent with light. And he appeared not like a child who is crying. The child, whenever the child is born, all the parents will become anxious to see if the child actually cries. If the child doesn't cry, then the parents will be worried. Oh my God, the child is not crying. We don't know what is the problem. Okay, but here in this case, Krishna doesn't cry. Devaki was observing as if this is all a dream, and suddenly the child appeared fully dressed. He appears to be decorated. He appears to be full with ornamentation. He had a fully grown hair. He appeared not just with 2 arms, but he had 4 arms. He appeared in the form of Vishnu. And when Devaki and Vasudeva saw this child, Krishna, they were so astonished and stuck with amazement and wonder. So Krishna appeared in the form of Vishnu, which is what needs to be understood, because he was just not having 2 hands, he was having 4 hands. Okay, and then Devaki and Vasudeva, they started to offer their prayers to Lord Krishna. Normally, whenever a child is born, the parents offer prayers to the God. Please protect this particular child of me. Please protect. But here, the Lord himself appeared. And when he appeared, people were all astounded, as though they were still in the prison cell. Of course, they were all in the prison cell, and all the darkness, everything went away because of Krishna's appearance. At that time, the guards who were there on the prison cell, what happened to them? When the first thing a child would do, obviously, as I told you, the child will cry. But here, Krishna did not cry at all. He made the guards sleep. He put the guards to rest. Okay. And now all miracles are going to happen. Let's see what are all the miracles that are going to happen. Devaki, at one level, she was very jubilant to see this child. When she saw this child in magnificent form, and she knows it's Vishnu himself with Sankha, Chakra, Gada, and Padma. All the paraphernalia of the Lord was also seen with the Lord. When she saw that, obviously she was very astonished. But then she had her maternal affection. She is now thinking of her being a mother. And she said, how she will protect and hide this child? If Kamsa is seeing the celestial form and the celestial divine child, he will surely kill this child, right? She said, oh, divine child Krishna, make his form unmanifest. Meaning, you should not make, we should not be able to see it with our eyes, the celestial forms. You should make this unmanifest so that we are not able to see. Please appear like an ordinary child. And then I will be able to hide you somewhere, take you to a secret place and hide you so that Kamsa will not kill you. This is motherly affection, right? Whenever she knows the child is in danger, she will do anything to protect the child. And similarly, in this situation also, we see that Devaki is trying to protect Lord Krishna, knowing him to be this God. She doesn't want Kamsa. Looking at this form itself, Kamsa will know this is the form which is trying to kill me, and he will start to kill this form of Lord Vishnu, and I don't want my son to be killed. She's like protective. Vishnu, obviously a God cannot be killed, but because of her affection, she is doing this. Okay? If Kamsa sees the celestial or divine child, he will surely kill him. Oh, divine child Krishna, please make this form unmanifest so that and make this child an ordinary child so that I can hide him and keep him somewhere. She, out of her motherly affection, wanted to protect Krishna, although it was Krishna who is going to protect everyone. Because Krishna is the one who is the protector, well-wisher of everyone, benefactor of this world. But she here, showing her motherly affection, wants to protect Krishna. Still, to oblige her, he spoke to her. He said, have no fear. Krishna actually told this to Devaki Mata. In previous life, both you and Vasudeva had performed great austerities and you wanted to have me as your son. And as I told you, I will appear to you in future life. I told you then, because of your austerities, I'm going to appear in future as a son of yours. And now I have fulfilled and kept up your promise to you. So our relationship goes on for many lifetimes. So this is what Krishna actually told Devaki. In previous lives, you had been my parents and I have been your sons. So have no fear. Just as in the past, I have freed you from anxiety. Now also I will free you from anxiety. So this way, Lord actually changed his forms just so that the anxiety of Devaki is removed. And now he was having this four-handed divine form. Suddenly he became like a helpless child. And before changing his form, he told Vasudeva that, Vasudeva, it's your responsibility. You're my father. Vasudeva, in his heart, he actually got an idea. What does Lord inspire him to do within his heart? He is asking Vasudeva to actually take him to Vrindavana. So this is what happens. Krishna actually brings this inspiration in Vasudeva's heart so that Vasudeva will now take Krishna and send him to Vrindavana, where his other wife Rohini is there. Now he is letting to know. He is telling Devaki, see Devaki, I'm going to take Krishna to Vrindavana and give it to Rohini. And thus, as soon as Krishna came into his two-handed form as a small baby, Vasudeva actually took Krishna to Vrindavana. And this inspiration, actually, Krishna is the one who gave him that inspiration. And for Vasudeva, it was a difficult thing to do. This child was going to be the deliverer, and he finally appeared now. But now he has to take his child away. That was the scenario he was put in. But by Krishna's mystical potency, the guards, as I told you, who were sleeping, guards who were all awake, they used to be so awake in the night, especially in the night, they actually fell asleep, and all the shackles all opened up. They were not tied to the shackles anymore. The prison doors opened, and Vasudeva started to go out on the night. As he was marching, suddenly the rain started to come. Now we are having just gentle rains. That time there were heavy rains, and Vasudeva was concerned what will happen to this newborn child with so much heavy rains and stormy winds. So many things of this nature are happening, and Vasudeva is very concerned about it. But the child started to move, and he came towards river Yamuna, which is in between Mathura and Vrindavana. He was thinking how he will go through the river. Vasudeva is so much in panic because he has to safely take the small child and leave it in Vrindavana in Rohini's care. And now he was thinking how he will go through the river, and how he was about to enter the river. Suddenly he found that the rain had stopped. He looked around and see the rain is not there anymore. But when he looked up, he saw a huge umbrella appeared. And that was actually Anantasesha, who is the bed of Vishnu, and who Vishnu actually rests upon. He appeared there, and he came in the form of umbrella. Krishna, he never comes alone. Although he appears as if he comes alone, his associates are always there with him. So this is Seshanaga that is sheltering Krishna through the stormy weather. And Vasudeva, he did not understand obviously that it is Seshanag, and he thought that somehow or the other rain stopped. He was so focused on getting to Vrindavana. At that time, he's talking. He's thinking to himself, okay, as long as I'm able to move, I'll just go along. I'll keep moving on. And he was moving through Yamuna. Suddenly, it happened that Yamuna's waves started to rise more and more and more. We know all Yamuna's waves, right? And suddenly the waves of Yamuna started rising. And now he was carrying the child with him, holding tightly on his bosom. But now as the water started to rise, he picked him up and put him on his head like this. And then he thought, even if I get wet, there is no problem. But the child, the newly born child, he should not be wet. But the waves, it started to raise, and he started to shake a little bit because of that. And now he was holding on to Krishna, and he was scared to think, what if Krishna falls off? The waves are forcefully coming, and he was holding steadily himself, and then another wave will hit him like that. Another wave will hit him like that. Like this, the waves kept rising and raising, and he was raising his head, lifting his hands up and up and up just to protect Krishna. So this was the scenario. And our Acharyas, they clearly explained that Yamuna is also a devotee of Krishna. And he recognized that it was the Lord over there, and she wanted to have the darshan of the lotus feet of the Lord. That is lotus feet of Lord Krishna. And that is why she was doing this act. The more Vasudeva raised her hand, Yamuna started to raise it more and more. That is, the wave started coming and hitting Vasudeva more and more. And Vasudeva was in anxiety and somehow trying to raise Krishna as he could. But Yamuna didn't want to submerge Vasudeva. So what she did was she hit a wave with a huge force, and Krishna actually slipped from his hands like this. Krishna, who was there up in the head, he slipped from his hands, and Vasudeva was grasping Krishna in the water, but he was not able to find Krishna anywhere. He was horrified by his act, and he was thinking, what I have done. Thinking like this, he started to become panic. He became restless. He had endured so many years of austerities just so that Krishna would appear. And now, because of his carelessness, Krishna is lost. Where is he gone? He is not there anymore. Because it's my own mistake. I was trying to be negligent of protecting Krishna. He was beating himself within his mind, thinking how he could have let Krishna slip. But in the meanwhile, Yamuna was doing a lot of abhishek for Lord Krishna. This is the time she has got, right? She gave a huge wave, because of which Krishna fell down from the hands of Vasudeva, because of which she was able to perform abhishek to the Lord. She bathed Krishna beautifully. She wanted to touch Krishna's feet, and now she was able to touch the body of Krishna. She completed her abhishek of Krishna, and suddenly she made Krishna visible. Till that time, Krishna was not visible to Vasudeva. Then Vasudeva suddenly saw that Krishna was floating on the top of Yamuna. He immediately grabbed Krishna, and Krishna seemed to be perfectly fine. So such a nice act that Yamuna Mata happened to perform during the time of Vasudeva carrying Krishna onto her head. Right, he performed, she bathed, she had darshan of the lotus feet of the Lord, she had darshan and she was able to touch the Lord's body. What a benediction it is to nicely do whatever you want. And Krishna obviously agreed to all of what Yamuna Devi wanted to do, and this was a remarkable commentary that acharyas have given us to help us relish this pastime in this way. And then what happened was he picked him up and took him to Vrindavana, and there he delivered Krishna in the care of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda. Because at that time it was night, they did not understand what had happened. In that way, the same Lord who appeared in Madura, he went to Vrindavana. On the day of the birth, we see it was a traumatic journey, and Vasudeva would have to wait nearly a decade before actually Krishna could come and relieve him. So that is, Kamsa was tormenting him so much, and obviously Vasudeva had to wait for a period of time till the time when Krishna would come back from Vrindavana to actually deliver the Vasudeva and Devaki. But the day Krishna appeared, from that day, whatever fear and apprehension that Vasudeva had, all of them they dissipated. That apprehension was actually replaced by his anticipation of coming to deliver him and Devaki. So that was what, obviously that fear got replaced with the anticipation of Krishna actually going to come and deliver them at any point in time. Although they were parents, they knew that Krishna was the Lord and was going to deliver them. So all this happened that night. Thousands of years ago, Krishna appeared in that prison cell, and it was that night itself Vasudeva had made this journey. And this Krishna Leela is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. As we know, Krishna Jayanti is approaching, and we need to understand the lessons learned from this pastime. So very important and attention here, kids, for you to understand what can we learn from this pastime. So what happens in Krishna Leela is also meant to happen in our hearts. Devaki, as we all know, had 6 sons, and all the 6 sons were killed brutally. So after that, there was the 7th son, and there is the 7th son, that was Balaram. He was transferred from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini, and the 8th child is Krishna. The acharyas, they actually describe that the 6 sons who were killed were the 6 enemies that are there in our heart. Though Krishna is in our heart, because our consciousness has turned away from Krishna, that is because of these 6 inner forces that are there residing in our heart. What are these 6 inner forces? They are lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, and illusion. These are the 6 enemies, and they act like a wall between us and Krishna. They are not allowing us to enjoy Krishna the way we want to enjoy him. Our enjoyment with our relationship with Krishna has to be pure. Because of these 6 enemies in our heart, we are not able to have that pure relationship with the Lord. So this is what our acharyas say. Like Krishna eventually appeared in Devaki's womb and heart, similarly, Krishna will appear in our heart also. Devaki, we all know she lost her 6 sons. Similarly, we have to lose our 6 enemies. We have to let them go of our heart. Then the heart becomes ready for Krishna to manifest. But before that, it was Balaram who appeared over there. And Balaram, what does he signify? He signifies Guru Tattva. He is the spiritual master. And spiritual master appears in our heart. He actually gives guidance in our heart. And by that guidance, what happens is we practice bhakti. And because of that, we make our heart devotional. So Balaram prepared the womb of Devaki for Krishna to appear. So Balaram is our supreme Guru Tattva, and he is the one who will guide us within our heart for us to practice devotional service. And by the practice of devotional service, all the 6 enemies that are there in our heart will go away. These are acting as a hindrance for us to have a relationship with the Lord. We don't have to go through whatever difficulties that Devaki went through, but whatever difficulties we have to face in our life, we should know that at the end of it, Krishna is going to appear in our hearts, and he is going to enrich our lives, and he is going to give us that opportunity of helping us perform and have a transcendental relationship with him. This is what we need to understand. So this is just not a historical event that happened long ago. It is meant to happen even in our hearts also. So at this time of Janmashtami, what do we pray to Krishna? Oh Krishna, please, oh Lord, appear within my heart, purify my heart of everything, so that I become a devotee of yourself and yourself alone. This is what we need to pray. We need to make sure that the enemies within our heart goes away, so that we can give Krishna a pure place, like how we clean our altar, how we clean the deities, how we clean everything, how we keep ourselves clean. Likewise, internally also we need to do that process of cleaning, and that cleaning has to happen within our heart, so that Krishna is able to manifest in our heart, and by that process we will have an eternal relationship with the Lord. And this is what is going to be the prayer, and this is what is the supreme perfection of our life, which all the devotees and all of them in this world should hanker for. So with this, we can conclude today's session, kids, and then we can talk about this topic, or have some question and answer session, or have some discussion, and then we will conclude the session. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear devotee kids, for listening to this pastime. Krishna Janmashtami is coming, and I thought that this would be a relevant topic for all of us to discuss and enjoy. So with that, we will conclude today's session. Okay, any questions, kids? I'll just open it up, so we can have some discussion points, or any realizations that you want to say. Varun, can you say some realizations? Yeah, you're on mute. I'm not able to hear you. Can't hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, little bit.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, faintly, yeah.
Okay, that's what I learned. Should I say what I learned?
Huh?
Should I say what I learned?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I learned about like how Kamsa, he was not a good person. Like right when he heard the voice, he was like, okay, I have to kill Devaki as she's gonna give birth. But then Vasudev, he's like very nice, and we should learn from him. Like he's like saying, or you can kill our sons and you just don't kill Devaki. That's like really nice of him. And Kamsa's attitude is very bad, because he said, because he was just killing the children without even thinking a second. And then but Devaki and Vasudev, they knew that Krishna was coming, and then they didn't stop, and they knew that Krishna was coming. So yeah. And then
Very nice.
and then when Vasudev was giving the a child to when he was switching the child, when he was carrying Krishna, sorry, with it started like lightly raining, and then he was so focused on his beauty that even when Ananta Sesh came, he was like, oh, the rain has stopped. Okay, I will keep continuing. He didn't even think another word, and we should learn from that, like attachment towards it, and detachment towards everything other than what his beauty is.
Wonderful. Thank you, dear Varun. And I think you need to work on your microphone. It's not very clear, but you made brilliant points. Asra, do you want anything to share, dear?
Hare Krishna Mataji. I just want to mention how, like, listening to Krishna's pastimes and how it actually affects us. Because also scientifically, it's noted that hearing is the last sense to go before you pass away. And like, the Vedas and Srimad Bhagavatam also claims that hearing is one of the most important senses when it's coming to like put into Krishna's service. So you can see how much power it has just by listening to Krishna's pastime, and how connected you can feel with him before his birthday. he gives us so much opportunities in this material world to feel connected to him. We should just like take those opportunities at any moment we can.
Wonderful. Thank you, Astra, for making that brilliant point. Yes, the hearing has a lot of potency. Slowly, what happens through the process of hearing is that our heart will become cleaner and cleaner and cleaner. So devotional service is so potent, and hearing is such an important process. And that is why I say, listen to the class. Wonderful point, Asra. Kanchan, did you want to say something? Okay, she's on mute.
Mataji,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, the class was really wonderful. Thank you for telling the pastime again. It really brings me back to the mood of Janmashtami and how Krishna actually appeared. So thank you so much, Mataji. It was really wonderful.
You're welcome, dear. Okay, Janavi, did you want to say something?
Mataji, she has a question now. Why Narada Muni comes to kill babies?
Yes, wonderful question. Narada Muni did that because he wanted to see Krishna in action, because the purpose of Krishna coming into this world was that he wants to kill the evil, right? And he wants that pastime to act sooner and let Krishna get into his duty and do that, so that we will be able to see that he is able to kill the demons like Kamsa soon. And that is why he said Narada Muni actually did that. That is to glorify Lord Krishna indirectly, and the purpose of his coming into this world, he wants that to be exhibited sooner than later. Did you get that, Janavi?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you, dear Janavi, for coming into this class. Aditya, did you want to share some realizations?
Okay, Mataji. Another story you were talking about is Kaikeyi and Dasharatha. Like how Kaikeyi was very hard-hearted, and that means like you have no emotion or no love. Once like she got influenced by the bad association of Manthara, and similarly like bad association. Also, Kamsa had bad association with his associates and stuff. They were even worse than him. So like we can learn that if we associate with people who are bad, then that automatically comes to us.
Yes, see, an association just doesn't mean people. It means looking into YouTube. It means what are we associating? YouTube is something which very much affecting the children and youth these days, right? YouTube, you go into YouTube, what association are you getting through YouTube? Are you looking into channels that are into Krishna consciousness, or are you distracted by something that is so detrimental to Krishna consciousness? That is also an association. We need to be careful about that association also. Very important to note it down, kids. Do not forget that association is just not physical relationships, but it is also anything that you are in touch with. It can be in the form of YouTube, TV, anything, right? The books that you read, the literature that you always have on hand, all this is association. Okay, very important point that you brought about, Aditya. Thank you so much. And Ram Narayan, any last minute comments and questions? Wasim, Ram Narayan.
Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam, Mataji. The class was very nice. I joined little bit late, Mataji.
Can you be a little louder? I'm really having a hard time. I don't know if it is my computer or.
It's mobile, madam, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hi. Is the voice is clear, Mataji, now?
Maybe I put my headphones. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Hare Krishna. The
Yeah.
class was very nice, Mataji. And really it is helping the kids, devotee kids. And it is very nice class.
Okay.
My daughter and son also hearing there also, and we are conducting here program on Sunday for bhajan and shlok recitations.
Wonderful, Prabhuji. Wonderful, and glad to hear that your son and daughter are listening and that you're actively involved in preaching Krishna's glories. So thank you so much for that comment.
I think Prabhuji join other classes also. Yes, Prabhu?
Yes, because of Shamagori Mataji, I got this opportunity to associate on this.
Yeah. Mataji, Prabhuji joined all the kids' classes, I think. Other Vaishnava Bhajan, others also, I think.
Wow, great. All glories to you, Prabhu, for bringing up your kids so wonderfully in Krishna consciousness.
Hare Krishna.
And
Thank you very much, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Anjana Mataji, I think we are done for today. And we can adjourn with our prayers. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripasindubhyevacha patitanam
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo
Namo
namaha.
Namaha.
Antakoti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Radhika Kasturi Mataji ki jai.
Thanks to Vinita Mataji and thanks to Anjana Mataji for giving me this opportunity, and all glories to all the Vaishnavas on the call. Thank you so much, dear devotees.
Very beautiful class, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank
I'm
you so
fortunate
much.
that I could hear it.
Very nice.
Hari Bol. Bye bye.
Thank you,
Bye bye.
Mataji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.